Children are used in trafficking cases and much more ongoing investigations here at the Court of Public Opinion. And keep talking. They're tying us up, and we have been victims of S&M and bondage in videos like this. And that when they try to assault kids like that, it has to be reported as a mandatory. What happened is they assaulted us because we reported it, and that's why the state attorney general said that if there's retaliation for these assaults, that's what they were doing. Meaning is if you discuss something, oftentimes you could be a victim of being retaliated. The Good Samaritan law protects you. What happened was we were talked into a lot of things, and we believed a lot of things that were not true because they were left home alone, number one, by themselves, unattended for, and they're afraid of the adults. And they're afraid to talk about being spit on, and they're afraid of their abusers. That's what happened when we were talking to Tim and Monica down there at their apartment. That they were afraid that they would get in trouble because they were talking about what happened. There's nothing wrong with talking about what happened. That's why we had a family meeting. If somebody's spitting on somebody and hurting and grabbing somebody in the wrong way, or hurting you in your private spot, you need to talk to the teacher or school or the guidance counselor. If somebody hurts you and says something to you, go and run to the guidance counselor, talk to the principal. It's that simple. There's something else that was going on with a crossing guard, and so roping people up. Yeah, there was a lot of things going on. Somebody tried to take us to the corner, send us to the corner. Garbage day, there were some issues with the coffee pot. See, I don't know where, something that, oral sex or something. These people got pretty perverted with us, They got pretty perverted, something with a light bulb, the parking signs, handicap parking, something about the wheel well. I'm going to go on foot patrol because I can guarantee we find out everything that's going on. We'll find out. All I have to do is go on foot patrol and start talking. Just keep sharing what's going on. We had to go get some things over there because we didn't have any help or money. We didn't have any way to help lift and carry stuff. There were some issues that we were trying to go get our truck the last year. He wouldn't help us, and my brother and I were asking for help. I had emailed a bunch of people. We didn't have any money to pay for it. So what happened is this whole thing on Route 68, I took one of the girl, I had to take her car keys so we could get some help. Because we can't get any help. I'm not the only one that's had my vehicle confiscated. For what? There's no judge's order or anything. He says it's a mechanic's lien. There's nothing that was reported to my insurance company. There's nothing. Okay, since last December, there was an issue with some things with Bill Asher and putting out the Arch of Bail. You guys, these people are trying to do this, sacrifice children, and they already have an issue. I'm sending this over to Project Veritas right now. This is the kind of stuff they were doing to us. They were leaving the kids in cannibals. This is what happened. Yes. Washington, D.C., they left us on the street. And and we still have issues with our truck. And you guys were assaulted? Okay. Make sure you have pictures of this and send it over. That's what they mean by harassment. They weren't even helping us the whole time. We have kids that are in danger the whole time. The kids were going down there, and they weren't bothering any of those people, by the way. The whole issue, and then we went down to Tennessee because what happened in Shannon Christopher when we went and visited Fairgaw High School, and the garbage issue, and that whole thing with leaving us out in the street, that's very real. What happened to Shannon Christopher Newsom is very legit. And we were down in Kentucky. Yeah, what happened to these people is very serious. We're not talking about the race issue at all. We're talking about the comments that were made to us. And my truck, as a result of Shannon Christopher's case, my case is getting hurt too. Yeah, you can guarantee it. They would have burned us to a crisp as well. It could be it would be no different if it was Shannon, Christopher, or any of us. We were being sodomized. We were being abused pretty severely, meaning we have severe injuries. There's some serious issues with the man that was overweight with us, and what happened was we were in freezing temperatures. We had to get gas money from the Zillionopa police, and Melanie had given me $5, and I kept being assaulted and assaulted and assaulted right after that whole issue with the gun. Meaning they weren't going to just stop assaulting us, no matter if you took my gun rights away or not. They kept sexually assaulting. In fact, the assaults were worse this time around. Meaning it had nothing to do with the Second Amendment right. It wouldn't matter if I had a gun or not. They were going to assault us either way. And looking at what's going on and some of the other, and the hanging issue and what, cutting our neck, assaulting us. Ooh. Is if we can't get in touch with the kids and something breaks down in communication, what happened on exit 12 does matter, and I could not even file a report. They purposely left us out there, and I actually worked with the Jessica Lunsford Foundation, Jessica's Law, and they would leave me out in the street the whole time, meaning we got to get in touch with some people at the Lunsford Foundation. Yeah. You guys, yeah. What happened to Jessica? Yeah. It was a Florida case, yes. And also Nevada cases, yeah. They were assaulting us the whole time. The sex offender was actually sitting there doing stuff while we were being abused the whole time. Occupy and the issue of Project Traffic Light, okay. And then the plumbing issue, and back issues and walls. We're going to get to the bottom of some things. You better believe it. They did some things to all these kids. There was sexual assault issues in the wall. Something with the kids. Therapy. Reports on bad knees, some issues. Some other people said some things about their buttocks hurting, and they were clenching their cheeks around certain people. And they were itchy, and there was bug issues in the garden. You know what kind of concerns me with the whole thing with Justice Scalia is that it's one of the first most important cases, and I hope that some of us can actually get into this discussion, because this is the threat that most of us have felt. If you haven't worked with law enforcement or families that are associated with, members that work in that capacity, I mean, it could be very much a reality for some of us, because we, in fact, have been through this since 1976, that Justice Scalia was, in fact, possibly, in this case, I believe strongly that he was murdered. I have no question that there's political people that are way more important than the rest of the average, including issues on the Christian, being Christian and some other things. I would not put it past any of them. If you're Christian and you get assaulted simply because they have a higher expectation and things like that, and it's so common. Common sense is that you have the ability to speak and think and do for yourself. That's one thing, but most of the time when we're injured, not really. So we got children and families that we need to share some things and discuss some things, and this is what's going on. If we didn't learn how to speak I don't know that we would even have this discussion on Project Traffic Light and Project Pennsylvania. Who would have known? None of us would have known that this exists. It exists. SRAs, all this stuff. Nobody would have known unless you really do your homework. And we're not crime specialists at all. We're not anywhere near that. Here's the thing. This is October. We've been assaulted in the last couple of years. We've been missing just at random. So I don't think this is a random thing. I don't. Not after what we've been through. Too many times. Once you've been assaulted several times by pedos or something like that, they don't have to argue that. It's obvious. There's district attorneys and a lot of people talk about stuff like this. Is it possible that the movies that were filmed in Pittsburgh might have something to do with it, to silence the lambs, to bring that issue here to Pittsburgh? I mean, the only time they ever had an issue is at the movies that were filmed here. That's the only time, because obviously the stars, kids would get starstruck and they assume that like somebody's nice. I've been through this. I was assaulted. We've been assaulted. Okay. So you have dental issues. You got to get to the doctor's appointments. We got to figure out what the healthcare issues are. At home, we got to get, Yeah, they got to get to the doctor. The issue with the plumbing and the coffee pot and the green light. You got the green light, basically. Wow. I do not believe in freak accidents. I do not believe in anything. Nothing happens by accident. The only way a real accident happens, unless it's properly investigated, everything to me is worth investigating. Every topic that's on the table right now on YouTube, no matter how much they try to dismiss it, everything's on the table. When it comes to abuse of any kind, they're wide open for all kinds of things. There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing. When I started seeing things show up with the abortion issue and the whole issue on Project Veritas, I mean, there is nothing left for those people to argue. When you start hearing about babies, someone eating babies, I mean, this is what we're hearing. And hey, everything's on the table. Everything's worth investigating. Whether they're steak out or not, yeah, and hot dogs, yeah, you got it. Get it out on the table. Let's hear about all arguments. Where everything's on the table now. If they can murder a Supreme Court justice, everything's on the table. Everything. Issues, friends, children, people you talk to every day. Think about the argument here at the sidebar. I'm going to have more to share with you guys here at the Court of Public Opinion. You should be outspoken. When you know that some of the most prominent Supreme Court justice could be murdered and someone look away, same thing with LaVoy, Finnicum, and how many people would they didn't want to share what they really thought. And the idea is that most people are looking and glaring and saying, oh, did you just see that? Yeah. I mean, it was all over broadcast news. And LaVoy Finnicum was a man who was a foster dad. Okay, let me share with you when children need a dad. The very man that we talk about, LaVoy Finnicum, he was a parent to a lot of foster children. So we have a lot to share when it comes to foster children issues and when it comes to family. And the sadness that came over this whole story. And knowing full well that there was so much going on, that there were being, think about what was going on up in the Pacific Northwest. And you could get a whole bigger picture of what happened that night. As soon as we started sending money just to help friends out that were in trouble and needed to be up there and had travel costs, I mean, my heart goes out to anybody. When it comes to freedom of speech, when it comes to everything that's on the table, when you're sending money to contribute to somebody, now automatically our websites were being blocked, our posts were being blocked, and we were following a lot of that story at LaVoy Finnicum. Because to me, as a foster daughter, my first initial thing is to protect and defend anyone who's trying to take care and help children. It's just a basic thing. It's called having some humanity. When somebody's hungry and starving on the street, there's something human. And a human side is like, no, I'm not going to leave them starving out in the street. No, I'm not going to leave a family stranded like that. I'm going to give whatever few dollars I have on me. So when some of us, when it trickles down to that one person posting their YouTube page, all of a sudden we're crazy and this is what was on my post. I'll illustrate some of the comments that were made to me. I'm the child abuse victim and survivor, and they were telling me I was a pedo. I'm the victim. I'm the victim, and they were blaming me for it. That's the perversion of the social justice morons. And I have the post right here.